Let's get to tonight's big story, a childhood with no toys and constant hunger, a fridge with more alcohol than food, and being locked in a room for extended time with no access to a bathroom. These are just some of the disturbing details we're learning about the home life of Jesse Wilson. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joe Dana.
And I'm Rachel Cole. Mark and Caribe are off tonight. Now, the 10-year-old boy from Buckeye went missing in 2016. His skeleton was discovered in the desert this past March. Team 12's Nicole Zymek has been going through hundreds of documents about the boy. Nicole, what are these documents?
Now, Rachel, these are documents from the Department of Child Safety. Now, we've known that DCS had visited the home several times in the years leading up to the boy's disappearance and death. But now we're finding out the concern that led to those visits.
Buckeye police are working to find a missing boy. 10-year-old
Jesse Wilson was last seen on Sunday night.
Missing for more than 48 hours now.
Working on looking for any clues.
We want to find this kid.
Just hoping that somebody say there he is.
While that is not the outcome of which we hoped, we want to stress that this is not the end of this investigation.
Buckeye police have never named a suspect in Jesse Wilson's death, but they also haven't ruled anyone out. Tonight, after a months-long legal battle, 12 News has obtained Jesse's records from the Department of Child Safety, and it gives us a disturbing look into his home life. In the days following his 2016 disappearance, the documents state a Buckeye police cadaver dog sat down near the back of his adoptive mom, Crystal Wilson's SUV. When asked about this, the mother asked for a lawyer and, quote, Buckeye PD are no longer able to question mother.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out.
Police have never named Crystal Wilson a suspect in his disappearance or death, but these almost 400 pages of documents reveal several troubling incidents that led to visits and investigations by DCS. One document details the mother neglecting Jesse, locking him in his room for extended periods of time with no bathroom privileges, forcing him to, quote, urinate and or defecate in his room. Investigators found Jesse had a 1-inch welt on his cheek and said his mother hit him with a belt. Paperwork showing Jesse and other kids in the home were constantly hungry. Jesse telling investigators the kids don't get dinner at home. Inside the home, details get sadder. Investigators also finding a bare fridge with only liquids, including a box of wine, 2 bottles of wine, and liquor bottles. Abuse allegations reach as far back as 2011 and show a haunting incident where Avondale police looked into an anonymous report that the kids were malnourished. An officer found 2 boys about 4 years old sleeping. Each boy was strapped to the bed with a harness, similar to a backpack with shoulder straps. The mom told the officer the boys were strapped in for their own safety because they would sneak out at night and play. And one of the details that stands out in the documents, a description of Jesse Wilson's room, which only had a bed and a small dresser. The bed had no sheets or blankets, and, quote, no other personal items or toys were found in Jesse's room. We asked Buckeye police today where the death investigation stands. They tell us that they're still working to complete the report on the case, and they still have not named a suspect. Live in the newsroom, Nicole Zymek, 12 News at 10.
Nicole, thanks. Developing